play on Sunday. We want you to play Monday against Toronto.
Yeah.
But not because we don't want you to play against, let's say, Houston Astros, but we want you to play against the guys that we're going to be going up against possibly in the playoffs.
So what have you been doing to prepare for what are you going to be doing now, or have you done to prepare for this matchup with Kelly? Because it all comes down, really, you can agree, like, you're going to obviously try and beat Jason. I think you're playing Jason, right?
Yeah.
You're going to try and beat Jason, but really, it doesn't matter so much to you. You need to focus on beating Kelly in the following 2-week matchup.
Yeah. So what I am hoping for is that I get a smartphone. That's actually one thing I really need to do.
Okay, if anyone who's listening to this doesn't know this, David has been saying for probably about 14 million years that he was going to get a phone. 4th of July, he said, I'm going to get a phone. Never fucking happens. Like, let's be honest. He never follows through with getting this phone. So I told David that he's at a huge disadvantage in the playoffs because, these lineups can shift, in the September because no one gives a rat's ass about fantasy. And they'll take out your stud players and you're going to have zeros up there.
And I loved it, though. Like, one night with a little smirk on your little cute face, you said to me, you're like, I really hope I play you, just because I know that you won't be able to set your lineup and check to see what players are being sat, and I'll have an easy way in.
Yeah, I'll have an advantage, and that you've no one to blame but yourself.
So the terrible thing is, if that's the reason why I lose to Sonny, or actually Kelly Grechko, it's going to feel 100 times worse, not just because I lost, period, but because I lost to a Grechko.
David, do you really want to get into this again?
I mean, there's something about the Grechkos that just irks me.
David, I think you're digging up something that's already been buried.
Because the Grechko dynasty is finally almost dead.
I think this goes back to those little smack talk videos we had where you said that they need to be taken down, and they were like, basically, screw you. Well, the last 2 fantasy seasons, neither of them won, or John didn't win either. So
I know who did win.
I don't know. He was a really cool guy. That's all I know. But I don't know. I think it would be interesting if Kelly did win. I think the one thing I would like about it is it would definitely get her more interested in playing fantasy sports. So, because obviously when you lose in fantasy, you're not interested. Like, how many times have we heard from people this year where they're like, I'm losing, like, I'm over this, I want to go to football. And I can understand, it's sometimes hard, I've recently started to lose a few games now, and it sucks when your team loses. Like, I thought I was going to win today, and I lost.
Like, what would you say is her strongest
Kelly?
positions? Like, was there, if you had to say that there's one thing that had to go wrong for you to actually win, or for me to actually win in the playoffs?
So we're talking about your matchups. So,
yes. So I'm just looking at...
So you want to look at your roster first?
No, let's look at her roster, then let's look at mine.
So, I understand that there might be, you might post this on your YouTube channel, so other people might be listening to this who aren't, like, and if you do, frankly, and you get to this point, like, God bless you, because we're just rambling on, and it's our first podcast.
I'm actually thinking about creating a new web YouTube channel for that. For this.
So let's kind of, like, we have plenty of time here. Let's go through her lineup and just go player by player. So at catcher, she has Brian McCann, which, he's decent catcher. I really can't complain.
You had him last year.
Yeah, he'll get you some points. Casey McGee, I was really down on Casey McGee, and I told Kevin that Casey McGee was shit, but he's been playing pretty well at first base for her. I don't know if that's her everyday first base. Oh, Justin Morneau didn't play. But I think she's been playing him at third, too. He's got a 2.1. He's not going to...
But he's been known to have those big days.
Yeah. Altuve.
Oh, God.
Jose Altuve. He was always that guy where, like, he's really good, but his team sucks, and this is the year where he really played well because his team didn't suck. So I think that he's probably up there with Robinson Cano in terms of
potential.
Yeah. She has Anthony Rendon, who's another kind of underachieving guy. I think her having people like this really kind of helped her win. She drafted him in the 24th round. I think Sonny drafted 24th round.
That's 24th.
Pretty late, and he's got a 2.8 average. That's, you want to point to some players on why she's winning. It's because of this, and hats off to her for not dropping, because you could be chasing yesterday's stats, where you're like, this guy sucks, I'm gonna drop him. I've kind of had that problem. Like, I dropped Nick Markakis because I was like, oh, he's not having a good couple of days. I need another player. Mm-hmm. And it kind of bit me in the ass. So, Ian Desmond, he's doesn't have a whole lot of value in points league. He's got that big power, But in our points, like, he strikes out a lot, which really kind of dampers his value. But he can always go off.
And he's also on the Washington Nationals, which that is where Ian Desmond's actually playing for. So
Yeah.
so she can have potentially double points right there.
Yeah. So Ryan Braun, she hasn't left. He's been playing pretty well, and he's kind of defied the odds of this suspension and the steroid thing, and he's been pretty solid. I was trying to get him from Kevin for a while, but Kelly got him, and he's found a nice home there.
Mm-hmm.
Then she's got Brent Gardner at center field. He's been a pretty good value. I think where she drafted him, 2.3 point average, 21st round. So
what we're noticing right now is that she did really good
in the late rounds.
In the late rounds.
That's really where she's found starting position players in the late rounds.
And starters that she's kept year round.
Yeah.
Which, if you guys should go look back and seeing who are the people you drafted that are still in your starting lineup. Now, for her to have it so low,
yeah,
that's huge.
And I think a lot of times where we'll be drafting, it kind of gets boring those late rounds, but you really gotta pick the guys you like, because in those late rounds, that's really where you find your value, and that's kind of, I guess, the story of Kelly's team. She next she's got Stanton, who's obviously been a beast. Like, where'd she draft him?
I think it was a keeper.
8th round. Like, that's great value right there.
Oh yeah, because I had him and I could have kept him.
So the trend continues. She's getting all these great players in these like later rounds. So he's been good.
I can see right now Kelly's big old grin on her freaking face.
She's probably mouthing off about something like we're saying all these good things, and she'll say like, "Oh, you don't like fucking Ian Desmond? Well, fuck you," you know. So
David Ortiz,
yeah, he's been good. He's been solid. He's old.
And he's been heating up right now.
No, the thing that worries me about David Ortiz is the Red Sox are out of contention. So in September, like, these are these really hard things in baseball that are hard to manage. David Ortiz could get sat for a month. You know, he's older. The Red Sox have nothing to play for. Why risk having a guy late in his career get injured?
Mm-hmm. And also with now having Cespedes in front of him,
yeah, there's
a lot more runners on.
Yeah. So then also she has Nick Markakis, who's been kind of an everyday utility guy. And Nick Markakis was a guy that I really wish I held on to, because he's been pretty solid for her.
A 2.4 average is pretty dang good, if you ask me.
So her lineup's pretty solid. If I really want to nitpick, I'd say Casey McGee and Ian Desmond, and maybe I'd say Brent Gardner, because he's not like an elite center fielder.
But you can easily say that those people are not going to be the reason why she loses.
Yeah, I would agree. But really, let's move on to her pitching. This is
where I think is her strength.
Yeah, so just going up the top with Kershaw, Scherzer, and Corey Kluber, like, that's right there. That's where she really is going to bend you over. Yes. And she's really going to give it to you. But if you look at the back end of her rotation with Lackey and Francisco Liriano, she's kind of really weak there. Those are kind of, in my opinion, like wire guys. And, you know, that's not a bad strategy to play those, kind of play the hot hand, maybe drop them for some stream matchups. But, you know, that if I heard that's something that's a concern.
Because that's one of the things you advised me at the beginning of the year. You're like, hey, David, one thing you need to do is you need to go and have 3 really good pitchers, but have 2 that you can just flip-flop at any point.
Yeah, because the hard thing about starting pitchers compared to position players, let's say you have someone like Ryan Braun, and Ryan Braun's sucking. You can sit him, and you really can't afford to sit your starting pitchers. So, So you want to be able to go out and grab those guys on the wire.
Now, who are her relief pitchers?
She has Francisco Rodney, Zach Britton, Wade Davis, David Robinson. I'd say David Robinson and Francisco Rodney are kind of those elite closers. Mm-hmm. Zach Britton's kind of an average closer. He's closing. He's on a good team. Wade Davis, he's a setup guy. He's pretty good for setup
And
guys.
The one closer I really liked on her is Rodney. He's on a team that potentially could try to go for a playoff spot. They're going to try to win every single game. And every single game that they usually play in, it's not going to be a blowout. So he has a really good chance of actually going.
Yeah, so if you look at her team as a whole, you can see that kind of the reason why she's been having so much success is she's having players like Casey McGee, Altuve, Rendon, Desmond, Gardner, Markakis, having all these guys kind of step up and, you know, I don't want to say overachieve, but they're playing better than any of us thought. You know, based on the draft position alone, says that, you know, they were undervalued in our draft. Mm-hmm. And she, you know, I think Sonny was the one who drafted, and, you know, hats off to Sonny for, you know, seeing whatever we didn't see in drafting them.
Yeah. Oh God. If you go back and say, now you would put Stanton as your first round draft pick.
Yeah.
I cannot believe I did not keep him. If I had to do it again, I would keep him.
Who would you have kept and who would you have dropped?
Cano.
Cano.
Cano. I would have dropped Cano.
I don't know about that. I probably wouldn't have kept Strasburg if I were you.
Oh yeah, well if you look back at it now, I mean,
So